peace.
What is? Morgan? Ferguson?
How is he?
He's still alive, but it's a miracle. One of the bullets hit the cervical cord at the base of his neck, and he's completely paralyzed. He can't even speak.
What a break.
What about surgery?
Well, a top neurosurgeon's flying in from Denver. Should be here in a couple of hours.
A couple of hours? Can he last that long?
The doctor who examined him thinks he might. Oh, by the way, we put in a call to his wife in Silver City, but she seems to have disappeared.
She could be waiting for him in Mexico.
Well, if she is, we'll bring her back. Tom, get this story out to the wire service right away. Ask for complete coverage that Gantry's alive. Oh, but don't tell him that he's paralyzed and can't talk.
That should bring her running.
Might also bring the rest of the gang in to finish the job.
Well, we'll put on a 24-hour guard around the hospital. What about in here?
Yeah, go ahead. It's all right.
Gantry? Can you hear me? Blink your eyes again. Now listen to me carefully. Blink your eyes once for yes. Twice for no. You understand? My name is Frank Morgan. I'm a United States Marshal. I want to ask you some questions. Do you want to help us get these friends that did this to you? Do you want them to get away? I can't understand you. Well, you can't answer that. Were you running off to Mexico to meet your wife? Your wife is not in Mexico? Yes, your wife is not in Mexico? Look, Gantry, I'm trying to help you. I'll be back.
What happened in there, Marshal?
Evidently, I asked him one question too many.
You ask him? Well, he can't talk.
His eyes can.
The body of James Gantry, armed guard who escaped with more than $500,000 from an armored car in Silver City, New Mexico, after killing his driver, was found early this morning on the highway just outside of Harshaw. Although 2 bullets had entered his body, Gantry is miraculously alive.
Okay, thank you very much. That was a lab report. The bullet that passed through Gantry's body was from the same gun that killed the driver of the armored car.
Well, it still leaves us no place. At least we're getting full coverage from radio, press, and TV.
Well, they usually come through when we need them.
No word from Mrs. Gantry?
Have to give her a little time yet.
It's one thing we don't have much of, right?
You want to take a break, Waters?
Oh, no, it's all right. Oh, the staff medic just took a look at Gantry. No change.
Well, that's the most we can hope for. Pardon me. Are you Mrs. Gantry?
Yes. I heard the news broadcast.
This is Marshal Morgan, Sheriff Waters.
Can I see my husband now, please?
Yes, in a moment. We tried to call you in Silver City.
Jim made me come with him. I told him I didn't want to. I asked him to give himself up, but he said it was too late.
Who did this to your husband?
I don't know. He never did tell me who was with him. I just know that he was more afraid of them than he is of you. Can I see him now, please?
Of course you can. Where are you staying?
Some motel on the highway. I can't think of the name just now.
Thank you, nurse.
Oh, Jimmy. I told you to give yourself up.
Mrs. Gantry, your husband's paralyzed. He can't talk, but he can hear you. We're flying a specialist out here from Denver to operate. Now, he could save his life. Might even restore his voice.
Can I stay with him for a little while, please? I just want to sit with him, please.
All right. I'll be right outside.
Nurse said she came in a cab, Frank, and I caught the driver. Picked her up on Elmont near the highway.
Must be a half a dozen motels in that area.
Do you think she was mixed up in the robbery?
She says she wasn't.
You believe her?
Right now, I have no alternative. Well, I have some good news for you. Specialist just arrived.
Oh, thank heaven.
You look like you're ready for the hospital.
No, I'll be all right. Marshal, do you think the hospital has an extra room? I'd like to stay as close to Jim as I can.
All right, I'll check it out. Hello, this is Marshal Morgan. Do you have any rooms available near Mr. Gantry's? Mrs. Gantry would like to occupy one. Yes, I'll hold on. Yes. Oh, fine, thank you. Thank you very much. Well, you have a room 2 doors from your husband.
Thank you. I'll be back soon, darling. I'll go back to the motel and pick up my clothes.
Oh, you remembered the name of the motel?
It had something to do with desert.
Desert skies?
Yes, that's it.
Fine. Deputy Ferguson here will accompany you.
Well, that's not necessary.
We think it is. Whoever is after your husband may also be after you.
Have the lab boys check this glass for prints.
Mrs. Gantry?
Why don't you knock off for a couple hours? Doctor says it's going to be a long operation.
Oh, thanks, Marshal, but I think I'll stick around.
Telephone for Marshal Morgan. Marshal Morgan, please.
This is Marshal Morgan. Mrs. Gantry? Is there a deputy there with her? A Deputy Ferguson? All right, I'll be right there. Mrs. Gantry's back, but Ferguson isn't with her.
Marshal Morgan?
Yes?
Well, I'm Mrs. Gantry. Would you mind telling me what this is all about?
Just checking.
Well, I'd like to see Jim.
Well, your husband's in surgery. We tried to get in touch with you in Silver City.
I couldn't stand the thought of all those questions. The police and the reporters. All of them believing that Jim could do such a thing. So I went to my sister's house.
Where's that?
In Tucson.
You mind telling me your sister's name?
Ellen Seeger. Mrs. Seeger on Whitlock.
Frank, we can't get in touch with Ferguson anywhere.
All right, you stay with Mrs. Gantry. Marshal Morgan to Ferguson. Come in, Tom. This is Morgan to Ferguson. This is Marshal Morgan calling Ferguson. Come in, Tom. Tom, can you hear me? This is Morgan calling you.
Let's go.
Marshal Morgan at Tucson Control.
Tucson Control. Go ahead.
Check with the Mrs. Ellen Seeger on Whitlock as to the whereabouts of Mrs. James Gantry.
Roger.
You better send a unit over right away to the Desert Skies Motel to meet me there.
Ooh, we're playing this one with a stacked deck.
Let's roll.
License numbers on this registration. And Mr. Sanford got into your deputy's car.
You know which way they were headed?
Where? That way.
Are you sure about it?
Positive. I was watching them from my office window.
Well, what were you doing watching them?
Well, I'd seen your deputy with them before. But I never knew he was a deputy until today, when he was wearing that jacket and driving that car.
What did he look like?
Oh, about 25 years old, kind of short, thin, brown hair. And he looks as though he's always angry.
The place is covered with prints, Frank.
Yeah, now all we have to do is identify him.
Well, we got the Mexican border covered with roadblocks.
Good. Excuse me.
Yeah.
This is Marshal Morgan at Tucson Control.
This is Tucson Control.
Alert all units to be on the lookout for two vehicles. Number 1, light four-door gray sedan, New Mexico license, 2 Robert 53, occupied by 1 female suspect. Number 2, Deputy Ferguson's vehicle, occupied by 2 male suspects, heights ranging from 5'8" to 6 feet, approximate age 20 to 30 years. The driver of this vehicle is wearing a United States Marshal's uniform. Alert all units to approach with caution.
What's the matter?
Kip's kind of nervous. He just heard his description on the radio, and yours too.
So what? Another 5 miles and we're across the border.
They've got it covered, tight.
Look, we passed an empty shack less than a mile back. We'll go there and stay until it gets dark, and then we can run a blockade.
How do you know it's empty?
Because the windows were boarded up and there was a for sale sign on the front. Now quit asking stupid questions and do as you're told. If you hadn't botched up the Gantry job, we'd be soaking up the sunshine in Acapulco right now.
What about him?
We keep him. He may be our only way out. We'll dump him later.
Well, my men have covered all the roads from the hospital to this motel. Not a trace of Ferguson. He's got to be with them.
Tucson Control to Marshal Morgan.
This is Morgan. Go ahead.
Fingerprints on hospital water glass belong to Clara Gantry, female, age 25, height 5 feet 3 inches. Prior felony record. Convicted of grand theft money and armed robbery. Released from prison 3 months ago. All of her arrests involve her husband, Max Regan, who was also released 3 months ago.
All right, alert all units that Max Regan, Clara Regan, and the young man are wanted in connection with the murder of the driver of the armored car in Silver City, New Mexico. And also for the kidnapping of Deputy Ferguson.
Roger.
All right, so they know who we are, but they don't know where we are.
What about him?
I think I cracked this girl.
Leave him. Come on, let's go. Where are the bags?
In the car.
Well, bring them in.
No word from the checkpoints. Maybe they passed the roadblock.
And maybe they haven't. Remember that cutoff that leads back into Tucson?
Hey, that's right. We got about 2 hours of daylight left.
Well, maybe we can pick up something by moving after him. You take the Tucson cutoff.
Looked like a mother hen.
Yeah, but the only thing she's hatching is trouble.
If you call $500,000 trouble.
Well, what else can I call it? The cops are breathing down our neck. They even know who we are. You're real cute. Take Gantry along. Make the cops think that he's in on it.
Would have worked if you know how to handle a gun.
Well, I know how to handle a gun. Shall I prove it? I'm not waiting. I want mine now.
Put it away, Kip.
Yeah, I'll put it away. Now, you just slide one of those suitcases over here.
I said put it away. Take a good look at my pocket, because it's pointing right at your middle. Now put it away and quit acting like a spoiled brat.
Deputy Ferguson calling.
This is Tom Ferguson.
Tom, this is Frank. Repeat where you are.
I'm near an old shack with a for sale sign on it. Just off an alternate highway, near the Mexican border.
I'll find it. Are you all right?
Yeah. A little uncomfortable is all. And hungry.
Hold on, Tom. I'll buy you the best meal you ever had.
You want something to do? Get out there and check that character in our back seat. better see what's keeping him.
Yep.
Chip! Drop it.
That deputy must have broken loose.
Okay, I'll cover you from this window.
I'll go out the back door.
No, now listen to me. I'll cover you from this window. You slip out this door, go around the building. See if you can get up behind him. Okay?
Still in the shack.
Well, you guys are going to get a merit badge for this.
Mrs. Reagan, your husband's badly hurt. He needs a doctor. Now throw your gun down and come on out.
You okay, Ferguson?
Yeah. They say a uniform makes the man.
Come on. Oh, by the way, Frank, I got word from the hospital. Gantry's operation was a success.
Good.
They left some suitcases inside, Frank. Probably got the hold-up money in it.
You all right, Tom?
I have medical plan. Oh, which reminds me, I'm famished. And about the best meal I ever had?
You don't forget anything, do you?
No, not when it concerns food. Especially when you're behind.